Now it's time to connect to our switch, where we can get to the CLI, the command line interface. From the command line interface, we're going to be able to view the configuration of a switch and configure the switch. Shipped with your switch, you're going to have a console cable. It's probably going to look something like this. It has an 8-pin adapter, sort of an RJ45 connector on one side, and a 9-pin serial connector on the other side. And years ago, it was fairly common for PCs and laptops to have a serial connector like this, a 9-pin serial connector, because it was commonly used to connect to a modem. Well, we don't use modems that much these days, so we've got a little bit of a challenge sometimes. You've got this adapter, but you look at your laptop and there is no serial port. Where do you plug it in? If you're in a case like that, you might need to get a serial to a USB adapter. That's what this is. We've got a 9-pin serial on one side and a USB on the other. And once you connect this into your laptop or PC, you have to load appropriate drivers that you can download or that come with the adapter. You've got to download drivers so that your USB connection is going to show up as a COM port, a communications port, and then you can run a terminal emulator and you can get access to the command line interface. A free terminal emulator that you might want to use is called PuTTY, and that's what's even used on some of the Cisco CCNA labs. So it's a good terminal emulator to get familiar with. That's what I'm running here. But something else Cisco has been doing of late is including a mini USB connector on some of their Cisco Catalyst switches. For example, a Cisco Catalyst 2960 series switch, at least some models of that switch, it's got a mini USB adapter on the switch where we can connect in a little cord like this, and the other side could go into our laptop. We've got a USB to mini USB cord, and we have to load appropriate drivers on our PC, on our laptop, but it makes that connection look like a COM port where, again, we can use something like PuTTY to get at the command line interface without having to have a serial to USB adapter. And keep in mind, this discussion about connecting to a console port on the switch, that's if we're physically adjacent to the switch. Many times we're not physically adjacent. We want to do administration remotely. We can do that. We can connect to the switch via, for example, Telnet or Secure Shell. We can connect over the network. However, in order to connect over the network, this switch, it has to have an IP address, an address to which we can connect. So in our next video, we want to take a look at how we can configure an IP address, a management IP address on the switch.